Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk to you about how to lose $1 billion. No, that's not clickbait. In the last video, if you remember, I showed you guys how this guy right here made $207 million by running a Ponzi scheme. And I asked you, what would happen if that guy was a little more clever, a little more polished, was a little bit smoother? Well, today we find out. Welcome to FutureNet. Guys, FutureNet is a weird crossbreed between a social network, a multi-level marketing scheme, as well as a Ponzi scheme. Now, it was extremely convoluted, and the first thing I want you guys to understand is that overcomplicating a Ponzi scheme is part of what makes it successful. Because in order to successfully fool people, you have to make it hard for them to understand what you're really doing. Like, have you ever wondered, if you've ever been involved in a multi-level marketing scheme, why everything's so complicated? Why it's all so convoluted? Why the downline reward structure is so strange? It's because if you guys understood it, you would know to run away. A successful scam is never easy to understand and to sort of penetrate the veil. It's always overly complicated, and FutureNet has that down.
Basic level, member $10, gold $50.
Exclusive $100. Sapphire $500. For each purchase of the products, you will receive media points of up to 50% of the earnings of your direct partners.
But I know this is probably pretty complicated, and I do want you guys to understand it, to understand why this is a scam. So in essence, this is running the same scam that Traffic Monsoon was running, which is selling ad packs. Now, if you don't know what ad packs are, it's something that is acknowledged by the SEC to be a scam. Essentially, they tell you that you're going to be clicking on 10 ads a day, and if you buy these ad packs for like $50, in a period of months, you will share in the revenue of the site and make more money back than you put in.
By watching 10 advertisements daily, you participate in enterprise's general turnover and profit. After watching 10 ads during subsequent 24 hours, every 15 minutes, you will receive your part of income to your online account.
So you put in $50, you click on 10 ads a day, you make $55 or $60 back. That was the main draw of FutureNet and why so many people joined. They thought this is easy money. Where it becomes a Ponzi, though, is that those advertising dollars that FutureNet kept saying they had just were never there. They were always paying people with money that was put in by other ad pack users. And the problem is when you're making money, you always want to put more money back in, which is why I call this Ponzi scheme, the allure of this Ponzi scheme, the invisible money trap. Because what happens is they disguise it by paying you, right? So initially, everybody's winning. That's why these things blow up to be so big, because the bait is so good. You are making money at the beginning, you know? You make money, you put money back in. You make money, you put money back in. And that's always how it starts, and it always seems so beautiful and wonderful. And there's an incredible amount of optimism with these things, especially in the beginning, because everyone's just excited. Everyone's making money at the start of it. And you can see that in their promos.
Amazing. Today it's our day, the day of our company.
And their events are lavish, they're insane, they're crazy, and they can afford such wild events because they're making so much money. And most of the people they're paying out to are just going and reinvesting that same money back into the site. That's why the bait of Ponzi schemes is so good. Now, we're gonna talk a lot about victims in the next episode of this show, but for now, I just wanna show you one story to explain exactly how this trap works, the invisible money trap. I have this chat with a victim pulled up in front of me where he's from a poor country. I'm gonna be blocking his name. And he says, I lost $9,500. How can I get back my money? He doesn't speak English very well. Actually, a lot of the victims of these scams are overseas. But he says, how can I get back my money? And I asked him, how he lost so much money. Well, it comes out that he took out a bank loan for this and is now stuck basically trying to pay back $10,000 of a bank loan. And I asked him, why did you put in $10,000? And here was his response. He says he went in after his friend invested and the person was making money for 6 months. No problem with the company, all was good. Then he made his first transaction. He's skeptical. He only puts in $1,000. that was good. So he's making money from the site, and you can just feel that skepticism die away. The excitement builds up. They're throwing all these lavish events. The two inventors, who are Polish guys, they look clean cut, right? Their names are Stefan Morgenstern and Roman Zeman. And the way they talk, they're so charismatic. They're so charming. And so this guy eventually, he goes, okay, well, I'm making money from my $1,000. Let's go all in. So he takes out that bank loan, and ultimately, well, the thing went belly up. And that's what you find a lot, is people from foreign countries going into debt for what they think is going to be their golden ticket out of their poverty, which makes it so sad, because actually it becomes a way to keep poor people poor, right? Because they can never rise to the middle class if you're constantly scamming them with these things that are costing them thousands of dollars. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to get too much into the victim stories, because that's going to be for another episode. For now, we're talking about the architecture of a great Ponzi scheme. And I say great only in terms of its success, not in terms of the ethics. Obviously, this is incredibly unethical. I hope the people who started this go to prison, but I think it's important to focus on what made this so successful, because when you look at their events, these are not small hotel rooms full of people. These are arenas. In their 2018 Macau ceremony, the thing is like a Justin Bieber concert or something like that. These guys are rock stars, and they're acting like it. Look at this intro.
They're going to be transforming the future, and they're going to help all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, Roman Ziemian, Stefan Morgenstern.
I love how right off the bat it's basically Transformers. I mean seriously, this is like the Autobots are about to come in here. This is a little bit of a Fortnite thing, before Fortnite ever thought to do the wormhole. By the way, I'm not sure if that was a laugh from like the Roman and Stefan, or if the person who ripped this onto YouTube laughed while they saw that, because that wasn't me, for the record. Listen to that like Star Wars Planet of the Apes soundtrack going on there. I've just got to say, that's how to make a hell of an entrance.
And the thing is, that's not even unique. These people had a whole cult following. They even had music videos made about them.
Hey, living in our dreams. Hey, FutureNet, unlimited life. We're changing people, flying from extra ages. We run the business, we show the world what's going on.
At its height, FutureNet felt like a rocket ship for people, and it was constantly rolling out new initiatives in order to propel that optimism, because even as advertisers weren't coming into the site like people were told they were, FutureNet was busy launching new products like Futuro, a crypto coin that ultimately took a nosedive along with the company. They were launching things like an AR video game to collect said cryptocurrency.
Use everything you have to fight with your opponent. But remember, they are extremely dangerous and will fight back.
They were running a foundation where they said they were helping humanity. And it was easy to get swept away in all of this and forget to think about the core business model and how this thing would last forever. Not to mention the celebrity endorsements they got were pretty spectacular. They sponsored a Red Bull racing team. They sponsored the Pope. Actually, scratch that part. They lied about getting sponsored by the Pope. They photoshopped their picture of their company onto a Lamborghini that the Pope was supposedly signing and ultimately auctioning off. Roman and Stefan were the rulers of their own little world for a small time. But all good things must come to an end. And when they do, what happens? What happened to Stefan, Roman, and what happened to the millions of people who were invested in FutureNet? Because at its peak, FutureNet had 3 million users, which, if you assume that only a third of them were invested, and you assume that, well, maybe they were invested at about the same level that Traffic Monsoon got people in at, this company was making billions. And this is verified actually by the direct selling industry, who said that at its height, they were making over $1 billion a year in revenue. This company checked all the boxes in terms of preying on people's greed, preying on people's desperation, preying on people's willingness to believe in lavish lifestyle presentations like this. And when things come crashing down, when this illusion finally drops, things are about to get ugly.
Działamy, posyłaj tu udostępniamy, wysyłamy wiadomości, zarabiamy.